what you're saying, like, yeah, maybe it is, like
The Kanish?
the Kanish,
Mm, the usual ends are like ish, is.
the Kanian,
Yeah.
Kanite, Kanian, Kani,
Yeah. Well,
Kanish.
Kanite would something like Canaan, like the ancient city of Canaan, became Canaanite. So you could definitely use that suffix, that end.
Which one? Sorry, you cut out.
You could definitely use ending because like it has the same like as a parallel in our dialect language
Yeah. So like,
history.
I'm saying it's like So which one are you saying? Like Kanian, or Kanin,
You
or
you could do say like uh would definitely as close to Khanate though.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's close to Khanate, and that's like an area ruled by a Khan.
Right. So, I'm not opposed to just calling it that. Kanish.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kanish
I dig it.
is fine. If we come up with something, you know.
Yeah,
So
but like
so
you could buy a horse, you could buy a Khanish horse,
yeah.
and that's like got that sick markup,
Right. Right.
but for good reason.
So their trade is in higher quality livestock, better quality steeds, camels, wools, milks, cheeses. I'm saying produce, but pretty much manufactured from livestock, specifically, not necessarily vegetables and stuff. Perhaps maybe they have some sort of specific plant that grows in the oasis that's only there. So they would have makes a specific salve or something.
It's got electrolytes. Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So
It's got the magic.
yeah. So specific.
Do they how do they feel about magic? I know magic is like, viewed questionably in the world, but all of their like status comes from a font of magic, essentially.
But that might not be how they view it.
So how do they view
Even
it?
if it is a place of power, and even if they know it's magical, perhaps they think it's a not an arcane magic, right? To them, this is Lathander's,
Divine magic.
Yeah, it's divine. This is Lathander's gift. This is.
Oh, so they're like people are good with divine magic? I thought they just kind of hated all of it.
more so than arcane. Absolutely.
Cool.
So, I mean, anything given the right, description, if you will, and kind of leading and whatnot, I'm sure people would accept. But I think the default is people are scared of magic. But yeah, divine, I would say, is a little bit more
Acceptable.
yeah, acceptable.
Uh, so it's hey, wow, you're really strong from all that magic you've been living on. Hey, buddy. You trying to say I'm a magic person? No.
But do
I
they
ain't
even?
magic.
But do they even know that it is magic? You know what I mean? Like they might just think that they're blessed, but they might not be like, this is fucking straight up magic, right? Because that's the whole thing, is they're patriotic. They think they're the chosen people.
So when you say they're on a place of power, is that manifested anywhere, or is it just
It's
radiating in the area?
it's
Like, is there
it
like a
is
magical thing?
no, there's not like a giant magic portal or anything. It's just like
Mhm.
the capital that they're on, the Oasis, right? Again, tying back to the Feywild and the whole reason that's going to tie into things because of the place of power. And they, again, think of it as Lathander's gift, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, in terms of manifestations, the manifestations are what we're talking about. Over a long exposure growing up there, right? It brings out some of these qualities in people. You know, capitalizes on their natural talents, or gives their livestock better, um, wools and blah blah blah. You know, is that to say that every single one, every person that comes out of there is like, you know, the best
Superman.
Yeah, no, but just the fact that, like, it does happen.
Yeah, as a general.
Right? Yeah, as a
Yeah, it's
general.
like they took the bell curve and they just shifted the whole thing to the right.
Yeah, essentially, right. So, and they don't necessarily see that as like, here's this divine magical or sorry, arcane, like magic, like in the sense that maybe you were thinking of. It's more of like, here's Lathander's gift to us is this place, and so to them it's like a holy place. This is like their badge of like, we're the chosen people. This is the chosen place for us, right? It's where we are meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was his gift to us, to our people. So, but yeah, but then that is a good reason why they would have trade, because if they have higher quality steeds and whatnot, they're right in the middle of the desert. There's going to be a lot of travel trying to go from, further inland, to other places in the world, throughout the Baronies.
Yeah, they're the halfway.
Yeah, they're more than,
Unless you're
I would say
crazy.
they're a little more than halfway, I would think, unless they're like we're gonna have, I'd say in the end we would like draw out like where exactly do they all fit in, like in a puzzle pieces sort of, but they're
Mm-hmm.
so you think there's Amir. To the west of Amir is Habadar, and then whether, yeah, I would say this is somewhat west, whether it's like, maybe it's like northwest, or it's southwest, or it's somewhere where it's still a little far, but perhaps just because of its proximity to one of the other regions. Perhaps it's closer north, so they can send steeds to Faruqia, which is north of Amir, and send stuff down the river. You know what I mean? So to the right of them would be the river. Below them would be Habadar, which is the like geometric center, and then yeah, and I think that would be a good reason why their stuff would make it, right? You actually gotta like ship and trade this stuff, even if you can make it. To make it's not enough. So if we say north, I'll just put northwest of Habad. And it makes sense that they're somewhat close to Habadar because they have this relationship with them, that there's some sort of rivalry going on because the religious blah blah blah. Right? Seem plausible?
Yeah, I'm
On board?
I'm listening. I'm just putting myself on just mute, unmute, because I don't want to interrupt you.
On mute. No, it's fine. You can, like, this is an open discussion, right? So
I know, but like, yeah, I don't want to break your train of thought. You're rolling.
yeah, no, I'm digging it. I love shooting stuff back and forth. And I mean, there's names. That's the easy part, right? The easy part is going back and like making the names after. I just put in blank
Thoughts. You want to call
spots.
that easy? But yeah, like, we could hit that later.
Yeah, I find that's the, or like I'll get a spark of inspiration or something, be like, oh, like that's one of the names, or use that as a root for the name. So that's the trade. We have a lot of their how they are as a society, I think, right?
Yeah, they're like they have giant sticks up their butts.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's not to say that, because there is a divide, there's the people that are just like, yeah, I'm super devout, I don't care, I don't mind sacrificing those freedoms. And then there's the people that are like, I do worship Lathander, but, this is a bit
This is a
much.
little much.
So some people are like living under a thumb, and other people like are just doing it willingly because they're devout. And they're so what sort of punishment, how like if, for instance, if they caught someone stealing or if they caught someone drinking, what would they do? Did they just get lashes? Did they have to do like some sort of penance or whatever, or did they just straight up get like, you die?
Huh. All right.
Like
So
how extreme is it?
So Lathander was
Lathander is good. He's kind of like light domain. His symbol is like a path.
he's anti-undead, I know.
Yeah, he's like birth and renewal, kind of. So to me, it makes sense that like a lot of the stuff would be, again, like renewal based, right? So they wouldn't just like fucking slaughter somebody because they're drinking. They would have some sort of penance, and try and like give them rebirth, right? Like try and like institute the ways of Lathander in them, instill that.
But it's also supposed to be like oppressive to a point.
Correct.
Is what like I got out of that. So it would probably be like the stick and the carrot, but the carrot is.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, here's
not a slaughter, but like
now go do this.
Maybe disproportionate, like
What's
if
up?
you're. I was gonna say maybe disproportionate, but using, again, religion as like, this is why, right? And so like, if you're caught drinking again, let's say maybe it's like a certain number of lashes, or you lose a hand, or whatever it is that they end up doing, which seems kind of disproportionate, but in the end it's that, and it's like you needed to remove that hand in order to be a good person now, or some sort of justification in that sense.
First strike, second strike. That's for the rough stuff. Right?
Right. But again, it's that weird thing of what Lathander represents. Because he is the god of birth and renewal. So even though they are oppressive, right? I still think like they would want that face of like, whether they're being oppressive or not. I like the idea of like somewhere deep down inside, like they feel like this is right?
Always.
They don't feel like they're being evil. They feel like this is how it should be. It needs to be. So if he's the god of birth and renewal, there does have to be, there is a fine line of like what is too much, and or perhaps they get whisked away, and they go into like the priesthood or something, never to be seen again. You know what I mean? And they're undergoing some sort of like reform.
Brainwashing.
Pretty much. Something like they just go missing because they're taken in the priesthood to be rebirthed, right? Renewed as devout followers to do the right things.
I really like the idea of one of my favorite things is for specifically religious based is the punishment via trial.
Yep.
And my favorite sub part of that is exile via impossible trial. Like, go out and do this, and you can't come back until you do it.
Right.
Or, like, go wander the desert until this happens.
Right.
Like,
So
go get a vision of Lathander by wandering the desert. And
Okay.
until you do, don't come back. Or, like, go... Oh, man, I get to work in the thing that I wanted before. Go bring something ridiculous back from the Feywilds. Like, with these mirages that are popping up all over the place because it's a place of power. Like, enter a mirage, come back with something.
right.
Like,
But-
as proof of Lathander's favor.
Right. But would they say like enter a mirage, or would they just I think it's fair enough to say, like, whatever the implications may be, like, you know, they would be like, you must go in, you know, again, wander in the desert, go on a vision quest, or to bring back, like you said, favor from Lathander. And that's kind of, people are already going missing for other reasons, you know, so pretty much it's a death sentence for them to go out in the desert. So
Yeah.
so I do like that, and maybe there's like one person in a great fucking while, like there's like the one old salty guy, and he's the only one to ever make it back, and he has all these crazy tales that nobody believes, right? So anyway, so yeah, so punishment via impossible trial: wander the desert and bring something, or bring we'll say bring Lathander's favor. Wander the desert until you earn a token of Lathander's favor. And then I'll just put a note here. People going missing. Hey, we got a follower. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Welcome to the club.
Tiggy butt.
What do you call your followers?
We called them Dylans. Remember? There's like...
Oh yeah,
we
the
called them
Dylans.
Dylans. So what's up? We got a new Dylan.
I like it.
That's official but unofficial. Seriously,
No,
like,
it's
we're totally
official.
we're totally open to suggestions. So if you have literally any better name than that,
There is no better name than the Dylans.
yeah, Dylan and the Dylans.
Exactly. That's actually my favorite band.
So, punishment via impossible trial. They wander the desert until they earn a token of Lathander's favor. Until they earn a token of Lathander's favor. And then I'll just put in parentheses, ties into already disappearing people from the... I'll just put Feywild, because I know what that means. Doesn't have to be pretty for other people, just us. Yeah. So that's cool. So that's punishment. So I like that. Tiggy Butt. Best name, Tiggy Butt. I can't get over that. Tiggy Butt. Okay, so... Alright, so that's punishment. So what else? We got trade, punishment. We have a lot of their... how they work.
Where's the secret police?
Where's the secret police? You know, I don't feel like they would have a secret police. I feel like everything would be kind of like open, right? It's a theocracy, so it's kind of sort of akin to like a military police, right? It's but except it's like, you know, the priesthood. So not necessarily by force, but by force. Again, because it's like more public, like, oh, you're bringing in the public into this, like you're going, you know, this one has you're doing like a witch hunt essentially. You're calling this person out
Oh,
into the public, and you're saying he has wronged, he has done this and that, and he must go find a token of Lathander's favor, and he may not come back. And so it's not just like you, the ruler, saying, all right, you need to go out. It's like getting everybody in on it, right? It's making like a giant cult out of it, right? So everybody exiles you, because not just because they fear repercussion, but because they feel like that's right.
oh man, yeah. Now that you talk about like the public's role in sort of like policing itself.
Yeah, and that's a big thing also in Amir, but less religious and more because that's what the prince does, is he makes a public display out of it, not only to make example, but also to be like, yeah, this person deserved it. They did these bad things.
Yeah. But yeah, it made me think punishment via the public rather than being in like
Yeah,
a punishment
so
enforced by the public.
Ostracizing, stuff like that.
Exactly. Like this person's a sinner. What's up?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, does this person have a business? They have more to lose. Does this person have children?
Does this person have friends?
Yeah, well, not just for
Nope.
thinking like personally, but also like if you have a family,
Yeah.
what you do, your children pay for, right? You don't. It's not just you that gets ostracized; it's your family gets ostracized. You know, so
Oh, it's probably like your kid goes to school and like everyone's like, oh man, this poor kid. How does it feel to have like a sinner father? How does it feel knowing that your father is evil and that he should be hated? Do you hate him? You should hate him.
right, yeah, and then they're gonna get lip from everybody in the town. So Tiki Butt's got a question. Quick question. What do you have playing in the background? That is a good question, friend. So, I would like to direct you and everybody to a wonderful place called tabletopaudio.com. It's completely free. I've donated to this guy. He doesn't care pretty much if you put it on streams and whatnot. But there are hundreds. I don't know about hundreds. There's at least 100 tracks. There's sci-fi, fantasy, historical, modern, nature, blah blah blah, and they're great. It's great ambient. Some of it has more music. A lot of it is just sound. It is amazing. And if you use Roll20, some of the tabletop audio stuff is integrated into it, but not all. So if you're playing offline games, I highly recommend it. Anytime I'm doing any like thought process writing, or even sometimes just vegging out or whatever, sometimes I just plop it on. I just added a crap load of them and just hit play. But, I mean, some of them are more specific than others. So, it's a good time. Totally check it out. So, tabletopaudio.com. That's where you want to go.
Yeah, and 158 listed tracks.
There you go.
That's a lot of tracks.
Yeah. When I started, there was only like 10. Like, this is when the guy first started, and I happened to find it. I'm like, oh, what is this? And then he just kept adding more tracks, and adding more tracks, and adding more tracks. I'm like, man, this is the best. So, love it.
What a kind boy.
Yep. So, bleebly, blah, blah, bleebly. So, yeah, there's that. So, we got to come up with the capital name. We got to come up with, of course, gonna make the map at some point. Microorganisms. Does that ring a bell, Jared? He said it reminds me of the music from a game called Microorganisms.
I don't have the stream open, so I don't hear it. But I don't know what microorganisms is.
Ew, I don't either.
I'm sure it's a great game.
It says he's. Hey, so you stream.
I'll
check out your stream. I will remember the name Tiggy Butt.
I can't find this game.
I can't.
Oh
I
well.
don't know. I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell to me either. But we can check it out
Tiggy
later.
butt,
Diggy
you
butt.
betrayed me.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think if there's anything. So we know how the government works, the punishment, the laws, what they can and can't do. We know a little bit of like slight history of at least what's gone on in this last little bit, and we know about their place of power, the Fae, roughly where they are, on the map when we zoom out.
Yeah. So
is there
what are their?
anything go
What's
ahead.
currently, what's on the common people's mind right now?
It's on the common
Like,
people's mind.
What are they thinking about right now?
They're probably thinking about being like, the most devout that they can be.
Okay, so they're preoccupied with their with Lathander,
Yeah.
and like also like the
Yeah.
the constructs of their society.
Right. So,
As they say, do they feel any tension or concern over who'd you say they were feuding with? I forgot. The
Habada.
people who say we're the real. Okay. Are
Yeah.
they like thinking about that? Is that like a pressing thing that they're thinking of, or is that something that's not on them yet?
I would think yes and no. Sometimes more than others, right? I would think that it would be kind of like a constant annoyance, and there would be some people fighting for it, but I don't know if it would. I don't think it would be a like the whole society is like this is our mission as a society. I just think it's more like, oh hey, that guy's from Habada, like I don't want him in my shop, or like like things like that.
Mhm.
I think that would be the common person's experience with it would be probably more like that.
But there's no like upheaval or anything that they're currently worried about. They're not thinking, oh man, this new guy that just came in, I don't know what he's gonna do. We just received a message from like neighboring barony.
Right.
So there's
We'll say
nothing like
maybe-
pressing.
I mean, we'll say he's probably been ruling for like a little bit, maybe like 15 or 20 years or something. So like
Yeah,
he's
they're used to it.
like so enough that people are used to it, but people still like remember longingly, some more than others, and then there's like new generations that they just eat it up, like there's like this is all they know. So yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Makes sense. Yeah, just trying to like think like what the mindset is for the populace.
I think a lot of it is, carrying on family, like the normal stuff, like, oh, my dad is a right, I'm gonna be a right, and I'm gonna be a shepherd, or I'm going to be like whatever, like not necessarily having to be what your family does, but again, because the place of power, like you're capitalizing on your abilities, like this guy's very swift, and he should be in this sort of position.
Do people what does their immigration look like in terms of like people wanting to be in this place or people wanting to leave? Okay, I assume like more people are trying to get in.
See you,
because...
Tiggy Butt. Not to interrupt you.
Oh, bye Tiggy Butt.
See you, Tiggy. Tiggs. Thanks for stopping by.
Tiggies are wonderful things.
I know. Wonderful thing about Tiggies. Wonderful thing about Tiggies is I'm the only butt. So, sorry, what were you saying before I cut you off?
So yeah, people trying. They're like, oh, this is the Holy Land, and
Right.
also like the knowledge of them being like special. Like, they've got the pedigree going for them. Are people trying to move in? Is that a thing that they're concerned with? People that move in, how are they viewed? Because they're not pure. Like they're not like
Right.
purebreds of the
Right.
chosen people. Especially after a couple generations, where like they start, even though they weren't originally from there, like it seeps into them.
I think I think you're right, but I think it's something that like it has to be like many many years. So and by the time like if you went in and you're like in your 30s, you know, then by the time it takes effect, you're kind of too old. You're already past your prime. So perhaps like you stay, you know, you have a little more vitality in your older years. It's not like you're like, oh, I'm Superman and I'm 70. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's diminished. Uh, Also, maybe think of it. No, not really. No, that's not a good simile or reference. But no, I see what you're saying. I think again because Lathander is about rebirth and renewal. I think they would want to open their doors. Like they want to be a spot on the map. They would welcome people coming to them. But if they come from Habadar, I think they would be very distrustful. Just because, like specifically them, they have like a thing. But as long as it's not from Habadar, then I would think that they would open their doors. You know, doesn't necessarily mean people are flocking there. Yeah, I mean, we're also not talking about modern times, right? So it's not like we're talking about these huge, massive populations. But I would think, you know, there are people. It's kind of slowly gaining a following, and it is its own barony. Like it's not like it's an insignificant spot on the map.
Yeah.
But
and like it works with Lathander's renewal, where it's like, sure, you might have been other place, but now, you've become like one of us. Especially when you have like your next generation, which is raised there, and they're seeping it from day one.
Right. Yeah, so you don't get the full benefits, but again, yeah, perhaps maybe it's even like
the next generation does.
Yeah. But again, too, it could be like imperfect knowledge, right? Like somebody, they only hear tales and stories. It's not necessarily like, so it's not super obvious to them. And if the tradition is like, if I'm gonna make a pilgrimage, I would make my pilgrimage to Habadar to see the Temple Dawn. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of I think a lot of Dal Kana's strife is the fact that like they're not recognized. You know, because of tradition.
Oh, they're not.
They're not as that's a lot of their thing is they're not as recognized, and that's the reason why they have this rivalry. Is they feel like they're the chosen people, yet because Habadar used to be the unofficial lead, right? They were the larger barony to begin with. A lot of people make the pilgrimages there because the Temple Dawn is in Habadar. So
yeah, I thought you said that like Habad was mad because like they weren't being recognized. So I thought they were like already usurped.
No, what I'm saying is it's the reverse of that. That's why Dal Kana is so kind of like like they're pissed off is because they want their spot. They believe like that they're right, like they're the chosen ones.
I get it now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Fantastic.
Especially considering, like, again, it's like twisting the knife. The fact that Habadar is now kind of in ruins, and a lot of, you know, it's a shadow of its former glory, and still people make pilgrimages there instead of Dal Kana. Because again, imperfect knowledge, it's the tradition, blah blah blah. So, yeah. I mean, I like it. I love it so far. I think
we're doing good.
I think a folk story is in order, but it doesn't have to spawn right now. I always find like a page or two like folk story is always like says a lot. Gives good insight. Like how they were gifted with this or the pilgrimage they needed to take to come to here or whatever, but I'll just put in somewhere like need folk story. All right, need folk story.
Blue Wizard needs folk story badly.
So I'm pretty happy with that actually. Didn't you say you could only go to like 9:45?
Yeah, I thought so too.
Did you like skip out on a session or something?
I didn't skip out. My GM decided that he can't do it at the last minute. The message was sent at
Oh,
9:26.
bastard. How dare he?
Yeah, half an hour prior. It made me sad. Oh, but I mean, I got to do this, so it's
Yeah.
not all
No,
bad. It's all good.
This is productive and fun. I love doing this shit. Like, I don't know. I eat it up. I love it. I love it. So I'm just making sure my change is saved. Yep. All right.
Ooh. Yeah,
Here.
always
Yeah,
save, double save, triple save.
Yep. I'm making sure it's all good. So, what do you think? You want to move on to like a different barony?
I was gonna say, when are we gonna make the land where where everyone loves paladins and gives them magical items?
We can. Well, what I was gonna say is because of Lathander, perhaps there's some sort of significance. That a lot of what you're talking about comes from the folk story. So if we said there was perhaps a folk story where there's like his mace or like his like there, or you know what I mean, like maybe not his mace, but like you know what I mean, like an aspect of him, a piece of him, or there's like a something there, like something that you can see, like there's a folk story about it, and I could somehow see that in and perhaps make it real, you know, perhaps make it a thing. Like
all I'm trying to do is get you to give me some loot.
I gave you guys you guys got a fair amount of stuff last session. Would you get like 500 gold as a reward for, you know, what you'd done, plus all the money and stuff you got from selling the weapons that you already sold, plus, you know,
Plate mail is 1,500 gold pieces.
I know it is.
I know.
And I'm sorry about that, but
yeah, it's a hard life. I know.
it's a hard life. It's a hard life.
You're
Plus,
not
it's
supposed to get
be-
plate mail until like level 10 anyway.
Yeah, it's like a quasi gritty game. Which, by the way, I've been really considering. Again, because I think I told you I thought about the alternate rules for the long rests.
I think the week is like not feasible, but
yeah. So I don't know. I'm playing around with the idea, but I'm still keeping. I think if I do any changes, I'll wait like till this arc is done.
Oh yeah.
And then I'll be like, okay, guys, let's meet up. Like, let's make a decision because, again, because of the fact that there's random encounters and stuff, you can be like boom, 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 and get totally fucked. You know. So.
Yeah, but like you also wouldn't need to make every encounter deadly.
Correct. Which I try not to. Like, the last two encounters you had were fairly.
Yeah,
deadly.
they were solved by. You say they were deadly?
I said they were
deadly.
I said, well, they were deadly, just not for you.
Hey.
All right. It depends on the perspective. Yeah, from your perspective, not so deadly. But. All right.
Fireball's a hell of a spell.
So. These are what we have. We have Al-Jafaf, the Drotlands. Now that changed to like a Scottish thing. I don't know. The more I talk, the more cottony I get, the harder it is to hold that. I found. So like I'll start off good, and I'll be like, little.
That's what I like to hear.
You like to hear that? Little.
Yes,
So-
my favorite. Actually.
So
let's just name a barony that.
the blittle. It's just
Exactly.
B's, D's, and L's. Just a bunch of BDLs. BDL, BDL.
So where's the lost barony?
So there is Al-Jafaf. That's like the large area of like the outer large area of Badlands. There is Naveen and Faruqia. Faruqia is north of Amir. So if you can imagine, like, we're playing Foursquare, the bottom left is Habadar, the top left is Dalkana, the bottom right is Amir, and the top right would be Ferruccia.
And the river Al Hayat goes through. Well, it goes north to south, right?
Yeah,
so
north to south. So
into Amir.
Ferruccia is north of Amir.
Right. So the river originates in Ferruccia.
Correct. Yeah. Whether
or maybe like even north of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably north of that, but at the very least, Ferruccia is a point. I was thinking of having like the river kind of curves down, so like it's only on like a slight corner of Ferruccia, and then one of the reasons, again, Amir established its boundary so it has like a longer stretch of the Al Hayat. You know what I mean? Under its domain, where Ferruccia only has like this one portion of it. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so there's Ferruccia, there's Nevin, and Al Jafaf. Whichever you wish. Jafar. Hello, can you hear me?
Ferruccia, Jafar, and what was the other?
Nevin.
Prince Nevin. Princess and the Frog.
Is it?
Yeah, Prince Nevin.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Naveen.
It's Nevyn.
Nevyn?
Yeah.
It's probably derived from like the same.
Perhaps.
Regardless.
I didn't think of it, but
yeah. Regardless. Do you have sort of like ideas of outlines for any of them?
Yay and nay. Nothing that I'm necessarily committed to. So, I know for a fact Al Jafaf is kind of like the outer domain, like the outer regions of Aiz'Alam. It controls more land than a lot of the other baronies, but it doesn't have a lot of resources. So, it's kind of like more of a wasteland, right? And so there's that. I have some ideas for Ferruccia. I have next to nothing about Nevin.
So is Al Jafaf, is that basically like Canada, where no,
yes, I know what you're talking about, like northern Canada, where there's like the Inuit and shit.
Yeah, we're like some crazy number, like 80% of the population lives within like X miles of the border with the United States. And it's like ridiculously close. And they have so much land that's just completely uninhabited.
Yeah, essentially.
Or like very sparsely inhabited.
Absolutely, that's like exactly what I was thinking, yes.
So they're Canada.
Yes.
Dig it.
They're like very dry Canada. They're Canada dry.
Oh my goodness. I'm actually drinking Canada Dry right now.
There you go.
What a life.
Their people are very bubbly.
Yo, 100% natural flavors I got in here. Okay, so is the wasteland part separating them from the rest of Aiz'Alam? Or is it like...
No, it kind of like... It fades into it transitions into Badlands, and like you said, most of the population is on the border, on the very border, and then like the further you get out into these Badlands, like the more lawless, like there's just, you might find little hovels or small clusters of people, but there's not a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of like danger and shit like that.
So what is past those wastelands?
What is past those wastelands? I haven't
Yes.
decided yet, to be honest. I haven't decided if this is going to directly connect to the adjacent region,
Because if it does,
region, or if there's going to be like a body of water separating the two. I haven't decided yet.
if it does, a giant wasteland is a pretty good natural barrier to like stop any like military invasions.
Yeah.
You don't want to march your army across miles and miles and miles of barren wastes.
Correct. But it's also the same, like, even traveling by, for instance, sea, like, if there's a water barrier, you have to have specialized, and then there's a wasteland. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying is I haven't decided
Super isolated.
if the wasteland, empties out into, like, a sea, because I was thinking, like, a large kind of a bay that had, like, it was kind of like, I don't know, call it something that's not exactly this, but call it something like Copper Bay, or something where, like, the water, because of the clay, is, like, stained orangish or red, and then it's, like, these wastelands. I was thinking something like that, but I haven't committed to anything yet. And if anybody else has suggestions, I see there's still some people watching, so you can type in. There's links down below if you want to join us. You can come talk right in the Discord.
People watching.
Yeah.
People.
There's been some.
Hi, people.
People are into it, I guess. They like our ideas. You're free to steal all of this. This is all free domain.
Yeah. Just don't steal me.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think we're. So do you want to flesh out Al-Jafaf? It sounds
that
like
was the one you said you had not. Oh wait, no, you said you had something for it. The one you
a little
is
bit,
for
but
Prince Naveed.
we've been talking about it.
Yeah, just like random stuff. Yeah. What skeleton you got working with? Before we put some meat on those bones.
I'm gonna set aside Delcana here since we're done with that.
Where are you gonna put it?
I mean, it's in my Google Drive.
You should share it with us.
I will. That's true. You know what? I should. So if I put it in the Discord and people join, can they see it after? I can't remember.
Find out.
I can't remember. Like, if you join the Discord, like, can you see the previous messages or not? I can never remember that.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
All right. Then here.
Do you not want that?
No, I don't. As long as it's set up so. Right now it's set up so people can edit, and I don't think I want that. Just in case there's like one troll watching. That's all it takes to like ruin everyone's fun. So I'll have to change. You can change those rights, but I have to go and change those rights. So we'll say I'll link them afterwards, after I change it. Later.
I was gonna say.
Later.
You could like. Okay. Fine. Just like
just
to
so
read
you know,
along.
The Al-Gharbi is the term for Western, like the Western Aiz'Alam. And then there's the
Eat it, Arby's. Got it.
Manchester.
Manchester?
Sure. Yeah.
Eat it, Arby's, and Manchester?
Arby's and Manchester. When you go
That's
to
what I
see
heard.
Jafar. So spitball in here. So we got the Al-Jafaf. So we'll say this is technically.
So why is it called the Droughtlands?
Because it's all like Badlands. There's like all drought. There's not a lot of water there. Resources are extremely scarce. Yeah.
Except for like around the border-ish. And I assume like they hold the Badlands, not like the waste parts that are uninhabited.
Yeah.
They don't hold it so much as they're between everyone
yeah.
else and it.
but it's technically their domain, even though
Yeah,
like
because
they
no
don't
one's
really
gonna go
have
take
any
it.
rule out there. Right, exactly. So they're
Mhm.
technically the largest barony, though most is uninhabited. Ugh, that's inhabited. And there's what else have we talked to? I kind of like the Copper Bay. I'll rename it probably.
Oh
But
yeah, I
like,
definitely like that.
so I like the so Copper Bay stained with the color of the clay. Another natural barrier.
So, is the only reason to go out into those Badlands being free of law? Is that the only reason?
Some of it is simplistic freedom, simplistic life, freedom of law. It is very difficult to live out there, so that could perhaps be a highlight. Um, Perhaps there's something in the Badlands. Maybe there's rumors of things, or I think this area in general has so many like ruins and stuff. I think it'd be like overkill to be like, there's a shitload of ruins in the droughlands too. Like there's just ruins everywhere. But like I feel like if we could come up with something creative, like this is why people would want to go there. There's a specific thing that's out there, whether it's glory or whether it's like whatever. There's something out, perhaps.
Hey, so you're clearly not, like, you can't be using, like, the lore of Lathander, right? Because, like, a lot of
Yeah.
that is, like, very Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, I like to take, because people have the names and faces. I generally steal the domains, and sometimes I'll take like their stories and like twist them a little bit to fit, or because I think is Lathander was once the a technical D&D lore right now is like he was once an aspect of it's with an A, some other weird name. But anyway, he was the aspect of this other greater god, like one of the prime gods, and then now he's his own. He's separated.
A Monitor.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, who is like the god? I think it's like of law. It's like neutral god of just like law. I think it's law. Anyway, long story short, I pretty much take them at face value for domain, and sometimes I steal from their stories and just like integrate them. I think I take them more as like, here's their values and their domains. And I also run a setting like I like people to create stuff when they enter the setting. So I essentially say all gods exist in my setting. So like even like in our world, the gods from our world, but I justify it as like perhaps they're aspects or faces of different gods. Like perhaps like you're praying to one god and I'm praying to Lathander. Perhaps they're the same god, they just have different names. Or perhaps they're like kind of like a Hindu sort of like a duality, like different faces.
Yeah,
So
I
you
gotcha.
can spin it a million different ways, but essentially I do that. So pretty much like that's why Harold he was like, oh, I really want like Nord gods. So I'm like, do it, man.
I mean,
Love it.
like,
Whatever floats your boat.
Tyr is literally a Norse god who came to the Forgotten Realms in, like, a Spelljammer ship or something.
Really?
Yeah. Like, it's literal Norse Tyr brought into the Forgotten Realms. Because, like, Spelljammer is goddamn insane.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Spelljammer is like, they put sci-fi into it. Like, that's the whole point of Spelljammer. Like, it's where you make spaceships. Ye old spaceships. I'm not
honestly,
kidding.
I know of it. I've never played
Yeah,
it.
it's
I know,
bizarre.
besides by name, I know nothing about it.
It's fantasy spaceships.
Fantasy spaceships.
And also going across, like, dimensions and realities and shit. It's bizarre. Okay, as I say, like, very obviously, I heard you type. You better not be typing look up Spelljammer to put into this setting because that shit's bad shit insane.
No, fuck no.
Okay.
And another thing, straight up, dinosaurs do not exist in any of my settings because screw that.
What?
I
wanna ride a dinosaur.
I hate dinosaurs in my settings. Like I don't
I
know.
wanna ride a
like
dinosaur.
I like that immersion, and dinosaurs does not do it for me. Like if I'm playing like a silly thing, and I'm like, oh, whatever, or like maybe I would rule like if there was a very specific scenario where like this character is a history buff and they have in their backstory like I researched dinosaurs and like and they know everything, then perhaps they could imagine enough to polymorph into that, even though they don't exist. You know what I mean?
We can go to King Kong Island.
Right. There.
You know the island where everything is like
there
giant
could
sized?
be there could be like giant apes, right? Those are like I'm not saying that those can exist. Just like for whatever reason, like I don't dig dinosaurs. Like I think they're straight up foolish. Like
it's okay, Dylan.
I can't.
I understand. You hate fun.
Yeah.
You hate fun, and that's fine.
No, but like I said, like if somebody's like, hey, I really want to do the dinosaur thing, then I wouldn't mind like maybe them polymorphing into it, but naturally occurring, no. You know what I mean? Because like if they're like a history buffer, like the things I just said. But yep, no dinos.
Okay, so what I was gonna say.
Current day.
What I was gonna say, like the very obvious like explanation of like the wasteland to also double as a draw. This was the site of like a literal battle between deity and evil force, and whatever's like evil in your world. I don't know.
Okay, so what I like this. I actually have another region that has a giant scar that's kind of like Badlands across it, that stretches on for miles in like this uninhabitable line, and the story behind that is because I love the Circle of Eight and I love Vecna. It's when Vecna battled the Circle of Eight, like, which was like, some 1,000 years ago or whatever, in the Age of Arcana.
Flip him the middle finger of Vecna.
Yeah, during the Age of Awakening. And I have that in another region, so I could say like this is like another scar. That's what it technically is, but nobody knows that's what it is. So their justification is, so yeah, sure.
So what I was gonna say was like this is the site of like a battle between like cosmic good and evil, and people go in as warriors in this battle, and there like rumors are that like it is still ongoing, and you can see like the specters of the battle like playing it out again and again and again, because it blasted the area like physically but also temporally.
Yeah. So people think
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so hold on. So people think it's a battle of cosmic good and evil. Do we have maybe perhaps like look up an evil god? So would they again? It's very Lathander based.
It has to be. Yeah,
so
it has to be something undead.
It doesn't necessarily have to be Lathander, but it could be like Lathander and like perhaps there are some comrade gods of his that we could just like pull in, or we could even say it's a Montoir or whatever his name is.
And this Montoir like shattered himself in this battle.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's where Lathander came from.
Yeah.
And like the evil is obviously something undead related, because something undead related would be the enemy, because like Lathander's hyper anti-undead.
Yeah. Birth, renewal, and obviously pretty much any good domain fucking hates undead. So
yeah, but like Lathander's like hardcore against it because like the thing in the life.
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying is like.
Yeah, no, I know.
Many a god. It's so while I'm saying like, I'm just saying it doesn't specifically have to be undead, but it can be. So
that's like his
maybe
pet
there's
peeve.
like, there's other gods like, Baal and uh, uh, what is it, like Sirik or God?
I don't know, man.
There's too many gods. How dare we? So, yeah, we can look up some gods. I'm just gonna put in
It's like Asmodeus.
Asmodeus, demon.
I don't know like what your stance is on like the nine hells and the abyss in this world.
Yeah, I have they exist. As
as the nine
planes,
hells and as the abyss.
as yeah, essentially how it's described. I've never had it come up enough where like I've really fleshed out like, oh, do I want to do a different take on it? I've never once had any player ever go to the abyss or the nine hells.
Good.
Not once.
Those are bad
I've never had it
places.
come up like in all the time I've ever DM'd. Like nobody's asked it. They're like, no, fuck no. Like I don't want that as a theme.
Yeah, because
like,
it's awful.
I don't want to do that. No. So it's never come up. So
the Blood War is cool. Just
the
keep it
Blood
out.
War, yeah, the Blood War is
Keep
cool.
it out of
the
my
fact
plane.
that they hate. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not
I
in
dig
my
that.
plane.
So,
Ugh.
so anyway, so people think it's a battle of cosmic good and evil. I'm just gonna put a Mantor, whatever his name is, and a blank spot. We'll come with some people. In this battle, he was shattered, and Lathander was born. We'll just put,
You say he was like, born, separated, cleaved, flung from the battlefield.
right. So in this battle, he was shattered. People think he was shattered to become his own, fledgling god.
Mm-hmm.
And but throughout the region, many people still believe he is an aspect of him. So maybe there's a clash, like the people in this region are like, no, he's his own god, and other people are like, no, he's still an aspect of this. So maybe that's like some social conflicts between people. So fledgling god. This leads to disagreements. The regions believe Thander to still be an aspect. Okay,
So-
and then in the wastes, it is believed
Yeah.
that the battle still taking place, or it's like what am I trying to say? It's like playing over and over again endlessly. Like, is it still
I was
actually
thinking-
happening, or is it just like echoes of the battle?
So, what I was thinking was that it is sort of both, in that like you can be affected by it, but you have to enter into it.
Right there, so it's like some sort of after images. But again,
Yeah, so like
we're
you
thinking,
can skirt around it, and you could like watch it play out, but you can step in to
like there's a
like,
lot of like
mess with it.
ghosts and shit.
yeah.
So, but perhaps it's misconstrued because again, remember, the people believe it's this, but in actual,
It could be anything.
it could be anything. And I'm saying it probably between Vecna and the
So you're
Circle
saying,
of
what do
Eight.
people believe?
So perhaps
Um,
Vecna and the Circle of Eight, right? They're battling. There's forces, and that's why there's ghosts. It's not just Vecna and the Circle of Eight, right? There's each side. Here's the commanders, and then they all have infantry, and a shitload of them died, and the land became scarred. So, okay, so that makes sense why there'd be like maybe a bunch of ghosts, and you can see it play out. Perhaps there's some sort of on a specific, like on a solar eclipse, or like whatever the folklore ends up being.
Yeah, so like that's your like your glory point.
Just plays.
So like you're literally defending your god and your home against evil.
Yeah, so
Is like the theory.
in which case do they believe that when you die you join the fight? Like you die and you're like that is like your responsibility. Or you're going to win against the forces of darkness. Like when enough good souls
Oh my
join the
goodness.
fight.
How crazy does it get when you're literally able to visit your afterlife? Or like
Yeah.
physically visit what you think is your afterlife.
And I think
That's awesome.
I think perhaps if it happens all the time, like maybe it's just like, yeah, it's just a thing, like they get used to it sort of a thing. Maybe not, but you know what I mean, like if it's like very special, like once every these many years on a solar eclipse, like if it's like a very specific, like it happens, but it's only at a certain time, you know, which of course, like if you guys travel to the region, will be magically when.
Oh yeah,
is.
of course.
You know what I mean? Because that's story, but like
yeah, be convenient.
But
Convenience.
yeah. So is place. You can. So I'll say maybe like you can still hear the echoes of war.
Oh yeah.
You can still hear the echoes of war if you listen closely enough. And once every
7
years on the solar eclipse, whatever. I'm just writing that in. We'll think about it more. So once
No,
every
it's
7 years
definitely
on
like
solar
the
eclipse,
planar alignment.
you can see the battle. You can see the.
It's the planar alignment, not the solar eclipse.
The planar line. Well, there should be some sort of.
It's the
phenomenon.
the thing of the thing.
The
It
thing
doesn't
of
matter.
the thing.
It doesn't
Again,
matter.
it's just filler, and what we can think about.
Yeah, it's the filler event.
So once every blank on the blank, you can see the or the blank, comma, the spirits show themselves and their eternal struggle against darkness.
Darkness.
So, the battle still plays on, blah 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 blah. And what's it? We'll put in a big thing here. What is the battle called? The name of the battle. So there's.
What?
Oh shit! I don't want to do that. It's like crap. The name of the battle. So we don't have to come up with it right now. So in the Wastes, believe the battle still plays on repeat throughout the ages. You can still hear the echoes of war if you listen closely enough. And once every blank on a blank, the spirits show themselves in their eternal struggle against darkness. And their eternal struggle against darkness becomes tangible.
Yeah. Also, what's the name? Your other thing, the scar.
You talking about the other one?
Yeah, your other thing. You called it the
it's
scar?
it's I think they just refer to it as the scar in that region. And they honestly don't know what happened. Like, there is great debate, though, because there's a lot of like Arcanum focus there. They like some do know why, right? It's not like the history is completely lost. It's just like the common folk doesn't know, but those who are educated do. But here, given how vast they are and the way they're placed, it would be really hard to go explore them and dig it up. So perhaps like this is like an undocumented, like nobody knows here yet, at least, you know. So name of the battle, blah 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 blah.
It's like,
So do
oh,
they?
the
So
sheet
do
was
they?
summoning is freaking-
Hold on, before I forget. So do they believe? I'm just going to say they believe. They believe when you die, comma, you join the struggle. An evil soul joins the darkness, and a pure soul joins the light.
Yo, imagine. Oh, that makes like the heavy theocratic influences just like so much more important when you can physically see your afterlife and you could see what's at stake. Oh, that's such a good explanation
Right?
of why Lathander has so much influence.
Right.
Oh, that's so good.
I know. See, it's all coming together.
It is. Everything's
So,
coming up Millhouse.
so they believe when you die, you join the struggle. Evil soul, blah. Pure soul, blah. So, what sort of? So, there's that. So they believe that perhaps they believe because right there on the border of it, perhaps they believe that they're protecting this, like they're the guardians of this site. You know, somehow that they're like the last.
Jafar?
Yeah. Al Jafaf believes
Just let me call it Jafar.
macaws everywhere.
Jeez.
Um,
Yeah.
maybe it's like a certain responsibility. Like there's like it's a certain line. Like they were entrusted to guard this site. Like this is. I think that's a pretty common theme for all the like a lot of the baronies. But
Thinking that they're important.
yeah, I mean that's human nature. Everybody thinks they're important.
Exactly.
You
Everyone's
know,
like, no,
so-
we're the important ones. You guys don't matter. We're important.
I don't think that they're not as caught up about it as other people, but they do believe like it is their job to defend, you know, like so even though like life is tough here, you know, it's their job to make sure that the evils or the consequences of this battle don't leak out to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, I want to go to this place. Because these people seem like right up Makosa's alley.
Yeah. So although life is extremely hard here, many of the people feel it is their duty to contain the consequences of this eternal conflict. Again, we can, you know, we'll shine it up. And this is the task they believe was given to them by Lathander. Or perhaps rather than Lathander, maybe they're more, again, because it's like a lot about duty instead of birth and renewal, maybe they revere Lathander by association, but their Amantuar, or however you pronounce his name.
Yeah. Oh man, Makosa's gonna find God.
So, given to them by Amantuar. So I'll put that they do revere Lathander as an aspect, as a once aspect, or hold on, as a piece, even if he's broken off, as a piece. Montoir. but their true deity is Amantuar himself.
Yeah, I dig it.
Boom, baby.
I dig it a lot. Alright, so that sets the tone for everything that happens there.
Absolutely. So then, like, society, do they still take on? So they're more about duty. So like Amantuar is more like neutral, lawful neutral, pretty much. I believe is.
Yeah. They
Perhaps,
have
perhaps he's lawful good. I'll have to look him up. I have to look him up. It's been a while. And I also want to know how you say his name.
service. Like everyone does like their time. Does their time on the watch.
A monitor. Wow. Hold on, let me see.
On the watch.
Pronounced
I
a
mean, not,
monitor. A monitor. He's a monitor. Oh, that kind of seems weird now. A monitor? And they're monitoring.
oh my god, I'm out. It's been fun, guys.
I'm not like.
Have a good night.
Ew.
Ugh.
It's the deity of order, the sun, law, and time. So all these directly
Oh,
play
perfect.
into this. He's lawful neutral. Okay, so this makes like perfect sense. I don't like the name.
Oh, yeah.
Monitor.
Just like change the pronunciation. Like Amantuar.
Oh, I can't.
Yes, you can.
I
You can do anything.
We can do anything.
And anything you can do, I can do better.
Can you though?
I can do anything better than you.
Say so.
No, you can't. Yes, I can. Kill me.
Alright, so hold on, let me just replace all instances of this. I spelled it like 3 different ways. So
Man, you don't know Annie get your gun though? Feels bad. So
see,
yeah,
I'm thinking
yo,
this is-
he's really a time deity too. Oh, that works so well.
yeah.
I guess like those classic over gods usually have that in their portfolio.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah, boo.
everything's coming up Millhouse. To be honest.
I know it all. It's how it do. So blah 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 blah. So because of the fact, based solely on like duty, law, stuff like that, perhaps they accept a lot of people coming in that were either wrongly accused or it doesn't matter so much where they came from as long as they do their duty. You know?
Is this literally the wall from Game of Thrones?
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And
The wall.
I read the first book. So yes, I know what you're talking. Now it's kind of like I'm having flashbacks. Kind of.
Okay.
In a sense.
That's
In a
cool.
sense. Yeah, in a sense. Yeah. I mean, we could say there's a giant wall.
Oh man, we're gonna build a wall? Who are we making pay for it?
El Jafaf.
But it's their wall. The point is that they need to make someone else pay for it.
Right? They pay
God
for it
damn
in
it.
their own blood, sweat, and tears.
True. Fine. Ugh.
Okay, so, but do they actually have a wall? Like, it's a lot of resources. It's way out in East Buttfuck. Like,
They don't need a wall.
yeah, they don't need a wall. Nobody's going out there.
Like, on the ground, like, literally on the ground, I envision, like, the terrain just drastically changes. Like,
Yeah, because
Like,
it's like weird scourge like from a battle, so it like there's
yeah,
like a
it was like
cutoff point where like it
where like the
just
blast ended.
yeah, and that's where they're stationed.
Exactly. Yeah, like in my head, it's like oh, it's so good. Like this is the zone of demarcation. If you step over
Yeah,
this, you risk being like swept up in like whatever the temporal
the
imprint
struggle.
is. Yeah. I
Yeah,
was trying to think of like a word to call it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you
So
risk being swept up into it.
so those we'll say those wronged or um, exiled. Say exiled from other baronies. Come here to start anew. Where you come from does not matter, so long as you do your duty. And
I was gonna say, like, when you were saying, like, the other baronies send their people there, like, they probably also send, like,
yes, I'll say perhaps other baronies send, say, prisoners, exiles,
yeah.
or just perhaps other baronies send. Well, we'll just say prisoners slash exiles slash etc. There as in agreed. We'll say punishment.
Like, there's a
As,
draft of,
as
like, required number of people to go.
yeah, some sort of like as an agreed. Well, I'll just put contract for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
So that they're sending prisoners and whoever they're sending them there.
Right.
So it is kind of like a civil duty to the region.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
And the other baronies probably, like, also send them supplies.
civil duty.
Because, like, this is the war effort. It doesn't matter, like, what struggles they're caught up in. This is the thing that this is, like, one of the things that everyone agrees on. Actually, Raven
But
Queen.
But does everyone agree on it?
Yeah,
That's
does
the
everyone
thing.
agree on it?
So, I would say perhaps
As the Raven Queen has gotten
traditionally,
popular.
I would say perhaps traditionally speaking, it was a yes. But as people are, becoming more faithful to the Raven Queen, and I mean, even the Raven Queen, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't want any end. It depend. I guess it depends what the struggle is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, because undead are bad news anyway. So.
Yeah, Raven Queen doesn't like undead either.
Yeah.
Because she's about, like, regular death, proper death.
Yeah.
Among other things.
She doesn't mind like resurrection if it's like in the proper channels, but like the defiling of life in that necromantic perversion.
Yeah, like Raven Queen followers are probably like, this is a good thing, but I don't feel super strongly about it. I don't feel as strong an obligation, as opposed to if you're devout to Lathander, you say, oh, this is literally Lathander's fight.
Right.
Depending on, like, how you view.
Yeah, which
a
most
mentor.
people view a monitor as.
Can you There's no way it's Amon.
I wish it was Amontor without the A. It's the Monitor.
There's no way. There's no way
It
it's
is
a
absolute.
monitor.
It
I'm
is.
literally looking it up right now. Hold on.
It tells you the phonetic, like, how you say it, and I pasted it in there. It's legit, man.
Oh my god.
I know. So, so let's say that, because there's been a couple, there's been some shifting in the politics here. So we can say while the other baronies.
A monitor. Oh, it really is. I'm so mad.
I know. While the other
Sorry.
baronies continue to pay their tithes of goods and for, like, I'll just put people, labor. While the other baronies continue to pay their tithes of goods and labor, they do so at an ever diminishing rate. The battle. Let's see. The rest of the world, it seems, has forgotten the importance of duty. So perhaps there's some conflict there, where people are like, we don't want to keep paying you this, even though it's traditional to do so, like we have better things to worry about. So that can be strife in this barony with the other baronies, and perhaps like against like maybe this barony and that barony are like, yeah, we're more traditional, we like this is important, and maybe like the newer baronies are like, not really, so that can be an opportunity for strife.
Yeah. I dig it. But the strife wouldn't even come from Jafar,
Right.
because like they're preoccupied holding the line. It would come from everyone else saying, "Hey, you're slacking."
Not just that, because there has to be some. They're not
Or the
just an
struggle
expense.
spilling over.
They're not just an expense. There has to be something where they're under funded. So again, there's a consequence of that. Perhaps some things are spilling over, or perhaps, yeah. So hold on. So it's forgotten the importance of duty. So opens
Spilling
up
over is
opportunity
bad.
for. Opens up the opportunity for. I just lost the word. Strife among the baronies. Tradition versus, for lack of a better term, we'll call it better or more important matters. Because I know what that means. So I would think that, like, they still have somebody who leads, right?
Oh yeah, every
So-
army has a commander.
Right. So it's not just a commander, but there's some sort of, right. He's the real deal. This is its own barony. There is a ruler here. So
Yeah, but much like how in the Kanish ruler, the Baron there is also the head of the church. Like here, it seems likely that the head of the guard is also the Baron.
Right.
Like where one leans into theocracy, one leans into military.
Right.
Unless you don't want that.
No, I don't
Like
mind if it's more like militaristic. I'm trying to think like what else does the region have to offer? Is there anything
I was
else?
gonna say, yeah. Like if everything revolves around this, then it seems like it should be like a military function.
Yeah, and I don't know if everything does.
Yeah. So where's the culture? What is
Right.
their culture?
So, um, yeah, so I think this is a thing that's going on that maybe even perhaps some of the people, like some of the people that are here, they're questioning why they're here. Because again, they hear the echoes, but they're not like actively battling these things. They're just stationed here in the event that they do spill over.
Do they have compulsory service? Like in South Korea or Israel, every citizen needs to do 2 years. I think it's 2 years. I think Greece has it too, and probably a bunch of other countries. Like everyone has to do a year or 2 years of service. No exceptions.
Right. Here, though,
Yeah, do they?
yeah, I would say this region.
Right.
Yes. Like this barony in particular. Everybody has to
Mhm.
do a certain amount of time. Yeah. And they're all stationed. They're all stationed in these shitty living situations. So, there's like, say, the ruler and whatever. They're like, I agree, right? Like this is tradition. We have duty to be here. And maybe there's a sect or whatever. Like there's among the populace here. It's like, but do we really need to be here? Like we're just waiting in the event.
Mhm.
And it's begun to it's begun to lose its relevance, right? Throughout the ages.
So there aren't really spillovers outside of like the magical eclipse.
Right.
Like that's the only time they need to be on watch,
Yeah.
ostensibly. Well, that's what they think.
Yeah, and even then, like it's something where it never actually comes out to the edges. It's like mostly contained in there, So it's not like they're fighting some like grand like spectral battle, like every whatever. But like if you venture out in there, they're stationed there just in case it ever does. It just never gets that bad.
That's good.
You know what I
Of
mean?
course, the moment like the guard drops is exactly the moment it happens.
Perhaps, right? Because it gives
Because that's how that works.
Because you give that, you want to put that like that tension in there of like there's multiple people. Like there's people that feel like they're wasting their time. They're literally wasting their lives, living in shitty conditions. They don't feel it's relevant. They don't think like they should be here. And then there's the other people that are more traditional. They're like, yes, this is our duty.
Man, I'm noticing a theme of like tradition versus progress.
Right.
Like when we were talking about the Cornish barony as well.
Right. That's a big thing in like
Life.
yeah, I was gonna say like everything. It's like always a
Yeah.
it's always like a constant, change versus Republican versus Democrat, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
There's always two sides.
At least two sides.
At least two sides. That's correct.
Where's the
All right, so
when we get to the one? Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta write some stuff here. So
Yeah, go.
it opens up the opportunity for strife among the Baronies. I'll also put. Oh, hold on, internal strife. There we go. I did the voice activation thing, but then I keep hitting caps lock in blah blah blah.
Nice.
When I don't need to. I have it set. My caps lock button is my push to talk because Streamlabs OBS is lame and it won't let you use Alt.
Weird.
I hope they fix that soon. Maybe
My
have.
headset has a button.
That's cool. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
anyway,
that's
opens up opportunity for strife among the baronies. Internal strife. People have begun why they are stationed here, and if this is really their duty / if the duty is needed. Okay. And I'll just list some things like it's contained, right? So, only once every blank does the battle become tangible, and it is contained within the wastes. Right, so people use this as a reason to justify why, lack of a better term, everyone should move on. We'll make this flowery later. Okay. So, which case, so how do they, so their government is mostly like a guard captain, sort of, you think?
If not, then like definitely holds major political power. Like they don't have to be, especially if we want to go flesh out the culture of this of the area more.
Which I do.
Yeah.
So there's an emphasis.
Yeah,
on,
definitely emphasis.
There's an emphasis on survival, right? Here, we'll say it is disgraceful to waste anything, right? They would so people here are, would they be nomadic? Would they be, what sort of people would they be? If they have to settle in a place because of duty, they wouldn't be nomadic.
Yeah, they definitely don't seem nomadic.
So,
especially if like they're like we're billing them as like they put down their arms and they defend it, and like they say this is our spot. We will not be moved. Like not by enemies and not by mate.
right. So I would say the agriculture is kind of based mostly on like rooty vegetables, right? Shepherding, some. You think like goats that like live on these mountains that have like fucking nothing. They just live off like a little bit of grass they chew up on the top of a mountain, and they produce all these lovely things. Rooty vegetables, shepherding. There's probably not much in the way of other stuff. Kind of violent storms and whatnot. What else, man? Got any other ideas?
Man, give me a break.
It's alright. I think my brain is starting to get tired here. It's almost like midnight, too. We've been going at it.
Oh yeah,
This has been like a 2.5 hour brainstorm. We got a lot done though. Like,
yeah.
if it's coming together, I don't know. I'm pretty happy.
I do too. Like every time like something ticks and it's like, hey, that's kind of like this other thing, or hey, that relates to this thing. Like it feels really good.
It's amazing.
It's like connected to itself. Feels good.
This is probably like the most complex I've gone with like one specific campaign because there's 6 baronies, you know, but I wanted that because y'all were like, oh, political intrigue, and I'm like, oh, political intrigue, I love it. So like I know how things are working on a higher level, but also like when we're fleshing this out, that's going to, you know, kind of come back and like there's going to be a bunch of connections. The things that are going on right now, why are they happening? And I'll be able to explain that in much greater detail, and like it'll be much more plausible because of everything we're doing here. It's all cool. I imagine one day, like I want to publish a setting, like, and I don't know, maybe it'll be like, maybe this will be like the first part. Like I would love to like publish my whole world, be like, here's all the stuff, here's my brain, you know. But at the end of the day, everybody loves their own make-believe. I'm no exception, but it's our make-believe, right?
Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
our make-believe. We're making it ours.
Exactly. That's
I feel good that I was able to. I'm helping put my mark on it with this.
Absolutely. And that's what I was saying. I was inviting people because like this is fun. I thoroughly enjoy this. I could do this for hours, like especially if like I think if you have too many people, it becomes too cumbersome. But you know, if you have like 3, 4 people, you know, it depends.
Yeah.
You know, if people are just they want to argue the whole time, then it's counterproductive. But you know, it's just the 2 of us, and we came up with a lot of stuff. You know. Plus, I think too is like, if you and I just did everything, it would still be just you and I, right? So a lot of the things would be similar. So when you get other people involved, it actually makes you feel like, oh, this barony's different because it was built differently. There's different people.
Yeah, definitely.
So
we'll get these.
Yeah. So yeah, let's call it, man. I think we're good here, and we.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad. Well, I'm not glad that you didn't get to play tonight, but I'm glad you hung out. It was fun. It was cool. And I'm glad that
well, there's always a bright side, you know.
I'm glad a bunch of people stopped by the stream. You know, got like 3 new, 2 or 3 new followers, and Tiggy Butt's awesome. Tiggy Butt, and yeah. So, all right, I'm tired. So, good night to you, Jared. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for everybody who was watching. That's awesome. You guys are all awesome. I hope that this was... I would think, considering everybody stuck around, that this was at least fairly interesting. So maybe one day you'll get to see when we make the maps, because every single one of these regions I'm going to make a map for. So that'll be fun. And if you've seen... I have it actually tabbed over. I'll zoom out. This is 1 barony right here. Each hex is 6 miles. For reference. Let's see if I can. Hold on.
You showing him a mirror?
Yeah, I'm trying to, but like the way that, like this is a lot. I can't even because it's like shifted over a little bit. Anyway, it's huge. There's lots of. Look at all that. Good time. So, all right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'm leaving.
Yay. Have a good night.
You too. Peace.